And we're back for something completely different yet again. I've been watching a lot of reading vlogs recently and it got me thinking, I want to make one of those. So I have something that I have been just incredibly excited to read. It's incredibly excited but also incredibly nervous because I want to love it so badly. So today I will be reading volume 1 of Heaven's Official Blessing. I recently watched the first season of the animated series and it was just yes, everything yes, animation yes, music yes, voice acting yes, I love the characters, I love how they interact, I'm super invested in the relationship and just more, give me more. Unfortunately there isn't any more. The second season starts in October apparently. But until then, I saw people just raving about the books in the comments, and so I spent my last £13, it is payday tomorrow, I spent my last £13 getting this book delivered, and I'm incredibly excited to read it, but at the same time, books are so different, it's such a different medium. In an animated series, you have the animation, you have the music, you have the voice acting, you have all these things to convey the situation and the emotion. And in a book, all you have is the voice. And if the voice is off, if it's not vibing with you, if it's not chiming, if it's not hitting the right buttons, I find it really jarring, it really ruins my experience. I quite struggle with the voice in a lot of romance, young adult type books, so I'm just hoping that this is passable. I know what happens in this whole book because this is covered by the series, but I just really want to know what happens with Shilian and Hua-chan. They're so cute together. But for those who don't know, what is Heaven's Official Blessing? Well, I'm not really an expert, but it was a novel originally, serialised on an online website, which has now been collected into 8 volumes in English, translated from the original Chinese. It's been adapted into a comic and into an animated series, which is how I first found it, but people were just raving about it online, so here we go. I'm excited to start. I'm supposed to be working right now, but it got delivered early and we're taking a little break to get some reading done, maybe get some tea. Let's just dive in and just find out what it's like. Voiceover Joe here to do a little bit more explaining because intro Joe gets nervous on camera and kind of rushed things. I have at this point realised that I've been getting the title wrong and it should be Heaven Official's Blessing, not Heaven's Official Blessing, which I think is a better title, but anyway. I will continue to do that for most of the video, so apologies if that makes anyone incredibly angry. Pretty sure no one's going to watch this video, so I think I'll be fine. Heaven Official's Blessing started as a serialised self-published web novel. It's the author's 3rd novel and I'll pop her name on screen so I don't need to embarrass myself trying to pronounce it. It's part of the danmei genre, which focuses on romanticised relationships between men, analogous to the BL or boys love genre in Japan. And like BL, the authors are primarily women writing for other women. The back of the book reads, "A god fallen, a ghost risen. Born the crown prince of a prosperous kingdom, Xie Lian was renowned for his beauty, strength and purity. His years of dedicated study and noble deeds allowed him to ascend to godhood.
But those who rise may also fall, and fall he does, cast from the heavens and banished to the world below. 800 years after his mortal life, Shelian has ascended to godhood for the third time, angering most of the gods in the process. To repay his debts, he is sent to the mortal realm to hunt down violent ghosts and troublemaking spirits who prey on the living. Along his travels, he meets the fascinating and brilliant Sanlang, a young man with whom he feels an instant connection. Yet Sanlang is clearly more than he appears. What mysteries lie behind that carefree smile? The novel is hugely popular and it's been adapted into a comic, an animated series, and there's also a live-action series in production, according to Wikipedia. The series was originally fan-translated online into English, but now has been officially licensed and published by Seven Seas in 8 volumes. One thing that I don't really talk about in this video is just how visually beautiful the book is. Mine did come with damage to the spine, which I'm not particularly happy about, but it's minor and it still functions, and complaining to the seller takes energy that I honestly don't have. So we're just going to deal with it. Anyway, the cover art is gorgeous, as are the interior illustrations. I think they really add to the experience and very much enjoyed having them as part of the book. Anyway, let's get on with reading.
Okay, so I am about 70 pages in. I've read the prologue and the first 2 chapters, and I have some thoughts. So obviously I'm not coming to this completely new. I've watched the animated series. I'm not getting the full effect of what the plot is for this first book. Part of what I really enjoyed about the animated series was the plot. However, it's not gripping me, and I think the reason is it's not necessarily the voice. I don't even really know what the voice is. It has different moments where they're all heavenly officials in this heavenly court, and it talks about how they always are polite to each other and address each other as Your Majesty or General or etc. But then it'll just shift, and it'll be talking like, do you guys want to read this again? Or they'll say no shit, or they'll drop the word fuck. Just kind of, it's just a bit mixed. The prose itself, I think clunky is probably the best word for it. You definitely feel like you're reading a translation. I don't know if the translator has stuck too close to the original, like feeling like you need to mirror the sort of sentence structure and get every single adjective that was used and every single word that was used in the original sentence has to be in the English sentence, which when it comes to translation, there's obviously a lot of theory about what is the role of the translator and how faithful do you need to be to the original text, how many liberties can you take. I don't know, maybe the writing's clunky in the Chinese version, in which case there's a question of, does the translator have the responsibility to fix the original work in the translation? So yeah, I don't know, but it's not, I can't just lose myself in it. I'm not really feeling the sense of character, of place, of atmosphere. There's a lot of telling instead of showing, and it's a little bit tough going. So, but it has its moments. So the end of chapter 2 would, if I didn't know the plot, would have been cliffhanger ish, and I liked how that was set up. So you'll get a few sentences where it's like, yeah, everything's fine, and then just something will just be off about the way that they phrase something. It's like that sentence could have been cleaned up, it could have been tidied up, it could be a lot smoother. So yeah, some mixed feelings. Probably I would be a lot harsher on it if I wasn't already completely in love with the animated series, and I am, on a positive, I am gaining a lot more background information that you don't get through the animated series because of the constraints of the medium, that, you know, it's a 20-minute episode, they have to boom, 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 get everything out there. So I'm learning a bit more about the world and the background and the characters. I just don't connect with them in the same way in the book as I do on the screen. So those are my thoughts so far. I'm definitely going to, I mean, it's got, how many pages has it got? Nearly 400 pages. I will finish it. I will probably persist until I hit the point where I am reading new material. Anyway, it is Friday. I need to tidy up my house a bit, and then maybe later on we will read some more. So it's about 7 o'clock. I have done some more reading. I'm about 160 pages in now. I wouldn't say that the writing necessarily gets better, but I think I'm just getting used to it. It's not bothering me as much. I did like the moment where Hua Chang was introduced. It was quite cute. Still not as much emotion or description or I don't know what, but it's, yeah, there's something lacking, but I think it's the plot that you're reading it for, and I think that once I'm onto a book that I don't know what's going to happen next, I'll find it more engaging. Or maybe I'm just trying to kid myself because I really want to like this. I really want to love it. So yeah, I am hungry. I need to get some food. Maybe we'll read some more, or maybe we will watch some anime for the rest of the night. Who knows? Decisions. Do you ever just not eat to the point where you feel so sick that you can only eat if it's a really specific thing, and then you don't have that thing, and then you don't have any money because you spent your last £13 on a stupid book, and so you're gonna have this cake and this ice cream for tea because your one avocado was brown, and everything that you can make involves a fucking avocado. that's what we're doing. Face washed, comfy's on, looking good.
その代わり絶対払ってやる。
Okay, it's the next day, I've eaten actual food, and I finished reading the book. So between last night and this morning, I got through the last 200 pages, and it's time for the final verdict. Okay, so plot. Loved the plot, enjoyed the plot. This book basically covers the first season of the animated series, so it's everything that I'd already seen, but it's basically exactly the same. You get more detail, you get more background detail in the book, which is nice to have. I really enjoyed that it's a completely different cultural and philosophical kind of setting and background, ancient China. I don't typically consume a lot of Chinese media, so it's a bit different for me, so it's a nice change. I enjoy that. The characters, I love the characters, but I don't know if I love them just because of the series, or if I would have loved them as much if I just read the book. I really love how Xie Lian is really just like humble, and he's pretty chill, and he takes most things in his stride, even when people are like looking down on him, or even when he meets casually meets a demon king, and he's just fine with that. And then Hua Chang is your sort of typical demon love interest. You know, he's powerful, he's arrogant, he's confident, he's kind of the opposite. And that dynamic can be a bit, you see that dynamic a lot in sort of heterosexual romance stories, and it's just, I find it a bit problematic, because you might enjoy that dynamic, but when it's the strong powerful man and the shy woman or whatever, it's just, you can't help but like read the gender politics and stereotypes, and it sours it a bit, whereas it's actually one of the reasons that I enjoy sort of male romance stories of this type, is because you can have that sort of power imbalance and it not feel so icky. It just feels a bit gross, you know. So yeah, I enjoy the characters. I suppose I do feel like I got to know them a little bit more through the book. The prose does not get any better, but I did get used to it by the end of the book. So I wouldn't say it's incredibly well written. There were no points where it made me sit up and take notice in a good way, in a way like it surprised me, or it made me think, oh, that sentence is really well done, or I love that phrase, or that's a good word to use there. There was none of that, but there were sort of multiple instances continually where it was like, that feels awkward, that could have been rephrased. certain sentences that just didn't make sense. I don't know if that's like a translation thing or what it is. Obviously, it is a translated work. I will not get into discussing translation theories or roles of the translator or whatever. I do believe that this is actually just the fan translation, that they hired the fan translator to, and essentially just bought the rights to her fan translation, so it's maybe a slightly edited version of that. I think that comes across. But to be honest, if I learned anything from a postgraduate degree in translation studies, it is that what makes a good translation is pretty much opinion, especially when it comes to literary translation. As I said, I got used to it. I stopped sort of getting so annoyed at the awkwardness of it and just sort of leaned in, and yeah, it became less jarring as it went on. I think overall enjoyment. I mean, I read it in one night, so you know, I must have enjoyed it to an extent. I think if you can get over the clunkiness of the writing, I am a self-confessed book snob, so it was a bit difficult for me. It might not be as difficult for others. But if you can get over the clunkiness of the writing, I think the plot will carry you forward. I think it's basically what carries the whole thing, is the plot and the characters. In my biased opinion, I would say the animated series is better, and watch that first. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Overall, I would give it 3 stars, middle of the road. Some bits of it were good, some bits of it were bad. They sort of even out. I will very likely move on and read the rest, and I am very interested to see how I feel about it when I'm encountering new material, that when I don't know what's going to happen, and maybe once I've read them all, I'll come back and do another post-mortem of the whole series. But anyway, that's my opinion on Heaven Official's Blessing. I got the title right this time. If you've stuck around to watch me spout my opinions on a random book, then great, thank you very much. Glad to have you. Maybe I'll see you again.